Okay, well, it's official. Cam Newton is back. Cam Newton had a tremendous statistical day and a tremendous day when you watch tape. Either way you look at it, he was great on Sunday Night Football against Seattle. A lot of fun stuff. Just a wild game, even though they did end up losing. I almost called them Carolina. New England did end up losing. Cam Newton, 397 yards. He also had 3 total touchdowns. Just a monster performance. And I was just talking passing yards. His passing was great. Let's just get into it, and we'll start things off with something like this. It's going to be a cover 3 zone, but, the reason why they're running this coverage is because they're expecting some kind of a running play, which does make some sense. It's 4th down and 3, so it's the kind of yardage that Cam Newton can definitely come in and make a play. And so, that's definitely in the back of Seattle's minds. And that's kind of the thing about Cam Newton is that because he's such a good runner, it just disrupts things for a defense. But then what they're going to do is they're going to have N'Keal Harry cut over the middle. That's the way this play is going to work. It works out very well. Seattle is expecting a run, but also just a great throw from Newton and a great catch from Harry to hang on, even with the penalty where that was a illegal hit. Diggs got thrown out of the game for that one. But just a great play from Newton. I think that kind of just does go to show what his running ability can do to impact the game, even if it's not just him running the ball. This play was a great one. This is a rushing play. I'm going to get into some passing as well a little bit later. I want to talk about some running real quick, just because, come on, that's fun. That's the fun thing to talk about with Newton is the fact that he runs with the football. And, again, there's some plays that you watch and you're just like, there's nothing Seattle could have done there. And this one was one of them where you're going to have 2 receivers run out to block 2 defensive backs. You're also going to pull a guard around. He will block a linebacker. The only other thing you could argue is that, so they're going to basically run a fake handoff to their halfback, and another Seattle player is going to kind of go out wide like that to make sure he's covering up the halfback, because otherwise it'd be an automatic touchdown. So that's kind of where this play is going to be relying on, where if he does realize quick enough that this is going to be a keeper to Cam, then maybe he can run over and try to make a play. However, clearly he goes over to cover Burkhead, which again, you can't blame him for. It would be an insanely good read for him to have figured out that Cam was going to be the one holding on to the ball. But at this point, it's like, what do? Cam Newton, he's going to get to the touchdown here. He runs forward. He's easily able to get in. Somehow that's ruled down at the 1. I don't know what that ref saw, how that ends up not getting ruled a touchdown, unless I just completely am missing something. That seemed like an obvious touchdown. It didn't matter, but a very weird call. But at the same time, again, it's like, he's so difficult to bring down that even if you read the play well and are able to get in position well, you also have to stop a big guy that's Cam Newton. He's the size of linemen, but he plays quarterback. It's just absurd, and he can move. Let's talk about this one, too, because I think this is really scary for every other team in the league, where you're going to pull a guard over. You have a couple of blocks on the edge right there. And you also have a halfback who's going to lead block for Cam, because, again, that's the luxury of having a quarterback run is you get an extra blocker. So there is a huge advantage there. And what you're going to see end up happening is watch how well this works. Where the reason why I don't have the halfback blocking anybody in particular is because he doesn't really have to. They basically have an extra blocker on this play where if someone does come in, they can make a play. But as you see, it's going to be well blocked. You have an extra blocker, and Cam Newton just walks into the end zone. That's how do you stop that if you're Seattle? They did end up stopping it, when it mattered most. They had a couple of big plays in that moment. They got but at the same time, it's like, okay, it got stopped once. It didn't get stopped the other 9 times, and it just so happened for Seattle, it happened to be on the biggest play of the game. So luckily for them, that worked out. But as a whole, if they run that play 10 times, they're scoring 9 times. That's just how dominant it is. But yeah, let's get into his passing ability a little bit, because we all know he's a great runner. I talked about that last week too when I made a video on him. Let's talk about some of his throwing abilities, because again, he really had a great day throwing the ball. Wildly enough, Julian Edelman had his set his own personal record for most receiving yards in a game, weirdly enough. And this was one of the catches where what's going to happen is that it's a cover 3 zone blitz that Seattle is in. And for New England, Edelman is going to run over sort of to the middle of the field in that eye of the storm area where there could be a gap and just kind of sit down there. That's just what he's going to do. You also notice that I have circled in white, that's Jamal Adams. The reason why I have him circled is because he will be rushing the passer on this play. He's going to do a pretty good job of creating some immediate pressure, although Cam Newton does get out of it because, again, he's Cam Newton. And so, good job by both those guys, I think. Now you have another Seattle player, the one I've circled in black. He's running in to try and make a play on Cam Newton. But again, this now means that he's kind of abandoning his area over the middle of the field to do so. He feels like he has to, though, because if he doesn't run in and try to make this play, Newton could just run for the first down. So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't type move. But because of this, now Newton, he can simply just throw on the run. He hits Julian Edelman, and they get the first down. So again, really, I mean, you can't talk about Cam Newton without bringing up the running game because the running game does just add so many other aspects to his game. I also know that Seattle fans are going to complain about, oh, well, this would have never happened had we been healthy. And, I mean, listen, Cam Newton was great. He was going to be great regardless. It is fair to bring up sort of, the ejection and some injuries that definitely hurt. Like on this one, this was definitely an example where you have two receivers running deep. One's going to be in the zone on the top of the screen. One's going to be over the middle. So what would you think is going to happen here if this is cover 3 zone? You'd think that the safety over the middle, he covers the player who runs over the middle, and the corner who's covering the top of the screen, he covers the player running to the top of the screen. This, of course, doesn't necessarily take a rocket scientist to figure out. However, what's going to end up happening is that the safety is going to run up to the top of the screen, try to take away that route. I'm assuming he just didn't notice the other route, so bad job by him. And what you're going to see is that while Jamal Adams does pick this up, he's going to try and, get into recovery mode. He isn't able to run over and make that play. And it was a really good throw from Cam Newton, even though that was actually a pretty good job by Adams to just try to come over and make up that play. I saw people were getting on Adams for giving up a couple catches like this, but these aren't his fault. That's just the safety's fault. The deep safety, not the strong safety. So you can't really blame him for that one. That was actually pretty good by Adams, but just a great play from Cam Newton. I thought both those two guys, Adams and Newton, were fantastic. But I wanted to give some love to Newton. I might make a Jamal Adams video once the all-22 footage comes out. But yeah, just a tremendous game from Cam Newton, and clearly he's back. I mean, listen, you're getting some revisionist history here with people saying how in the world did Cam Newton manage to last so long and get such a small contract? Why didn't any other team sign him? The reality is, if someone did end up trading Carolina and taking on that $20 million a year salary, everyone would have been saying, what are you doing paying that much money for a potential, a guy who might be washed up? It's easy to say in hindsight, now that we know he's healthy, that this is a mistake from every other team. It was a lot more difficult to say that earlier. And so I think that let's not pretend like we also were saying all along Cam Newton was going to be great, because we, at least I didn't. But again, clearly this is one of many reasons why I am not Bill Belichick. Excellent signing from him, excellent coaching to really use Cam Newton to the best of his abilities. He looked like 2015 Cam out there. He looked like MVP Cam out there. He really did. It'll be interesting to see how long this can continue. And I mean, I don't see why it would stop anytime soon. That's just my opinion. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What did you think of Cam's performance? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.